2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Purlwise podcast, knitting all day. Let's look at it together. Purlwise podcast, stitch by stitch, we can make whatever. Stitch by stitch, it's made by your friend Claire.
Okay, hi. My name's Claire. This is Purlwise, where I talk about the things I've been making. If you're new here, thanks for coming. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. It's really, really hot here today. It's like 30 some degrees. Am I looking more normal? No. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and do this, try and get through it as quickly as possible because I have some stuff I want to show you before I go away for a couple weeks this month of June. Yeah, so I think last time I'd said I would do another video about whips and sewing, so I don't think I'm gonna have time to show you all of my whips, but I'm gonna try and do the ones I've been working on most. There's one almost finished knitted thing, and then I'll talk to you about some of the sewing I've been doing. I feel like I have trouble, I think I've talked about this before, like I don't really like showing sewing works in progress because they're just always, I don't know, kind of harder to talk about. So I have been doing a lot of sewing, but I'm just going to show you a few things that I made because I recently went to a wedding, and I wanted to make a bunch of stuff for the wedding. I knew I wanted to make a dress, and I wanted to make them a wedding gift. So my friends Micah and Zinnia got married on the 19th of May in Toronto, at the Toronto Botanical Garden, which was very beautiful. And yeah, I briefly looked for a dress to buy. I was like, ugh, I don't want the stress of having to make something, but there's truly, I don't know, there's nothing that I wanted. Even I was like, I'll pay a lot of money and there's still nothing that I wanted. I just really can never find ready to wear things that I like in my size. So that's too bad. But I was like, okay, I guess I'm making a dress, and I sort of got it in my head that I wanted to make them a quilt. And I was like, this is a lot of sewing to do for one event. But I committed and I was like, I'm gonna get it all done, and I did. So I think I started planning for that in February. Gave myself lots of time. And everything worked out well. I was a bit stressed before, the week before the wedding, but it all got done. So I guess maybe first I'll talk about the dress, which this is not what I wore to the wedding. But this is the toile I made. I wanted to make a wearable toile of the dress I was planning to make for the wedding. So I'll show you. I'll roll the chair away. And this is the Wilder gown, and is it by Friday Pattern Company? I believe so. And yeah, I made this, I guess it's been a couple months now. I'll fully show you. I'm sorry if this is probably going to be chaotic, but yeah, it's pretty short. Again, I'm not going to try and jump and show you again this time. But yeah, I did a short length. I did the short sleeve. This pattern has a lot of, well, it has sleeve and skirt options. And I made it in this fabric that I've been coveting for a while. It's I think the line is called Forest Forage. This is the denim color. And as you can maybe tell, it's a little big. And I did the size recommended for my bust measurement, which I think right now, or at the time I made this with the bra that I usually wear, I measured with my bra. And I was getting like a 51-inch bust. And so I made the size recommended for that bust size. And it's a bit big. But I think it's fine. It's like very comfy. And I'm not like, I think I'll still wear it even though it's roomy. Like, it's not too bad. It's mostly like, if I go like this, it looks kind of big, but I don't do that a lot. I stand like this. So yeah, I made this and I was like, yes, I'm excited. I want to make my wedding guest outfit with this pattern. Oh, I should say I made the straps. I mean, usually the strap seam is intended to be on the side, but I put it at the back so that I could have the daisies right on the front of these straps, like ribbons, I guess, ties. Oh boy. Yeah, so I just sort of centered the daisies on the ties. So yeah, I decided I was happy with it. I sort of went back and forth on the sizing for a while. I was just scared to size down and have it be too small in my final dress. But I ended up sizing down and I ended up being really happy with it. So maybe I'll just change quickly and show you the final wedding dress. Yeah, this was the dress I ended up wearing to the wedding. Yeah, so another Wilder gown. I'll put a picture here of the full length. So you can see I did like the 2 tiers. My first one was just 1 skirt tier, and I think I did extend it a little bit longer, but this one I did the double tier. And yeah, I made it in this silk gingham, which I'd found. I knew I wanted to do something silk. I wanted like a nice fancy fabric, and I was just sort of looking around for different silks and came across this mint gingham. It's a bit rumpled, but I mean that's just the nature of the fabric. It was maybe a little less rumpled on the day, but it's hot. What else can I say about this? Yeah, I don't think I really made any modifications. And I'm really happy with it, and I got lots of compliments. That's the important thing, isn't it? Some girls that I don't know that well said that I was best dressed at the wedding. So that was really nice. Yeah. And it's funny, I was never really drawn to this pattern for a really long time. And then I was feeling like, I don't know, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to make to wear, and I knew it was going to be in a garden in May, and so like the weather was a bit iffy. I really wanted to make the Roberts Wood Alicia bow dress, that patchwork beautiful thing, which if you watch Sarah Seams, the Sarah Seams podcast, she made one for a wedding and it was beautiful. And I wanted to do that, but I knew it was going to be a bit too much with like making the quilt and making a dress, and so I wanted to simplify, and I think it was Izzo maybe suggested, my friend Izzo suggested this pattern, and then I was looking like through the hashtag and stuff, and I saw a couple like more formal looking examples that were a bit more complicated and a bit more like modifications, and I was thinking about doing that, but in the end I decided, once I'd found this fabric, I decided to keep it pretty simple. Just make the pattern with the short sleeves in the silk, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. Sorry, I'm really like restless today. I have been sick with COVID for like almost 2 weeks. So that's been not so fun. And I've been, just sort of trapped in my house forever. But I saw friends for the first time yesterday, and I'm feeling a little more human. So, and excited to tell you about my stuff. So, yeah, that's my Wilder gown. Really happy about it. I don't know. I wanted something I'd be able to wear again, obviously. And I don't know what kind of event I'll be able to wear this at in the future. But it's a nice, like, I don't know. The sizing is good. Like, it's got a lot of ease. So if my body changes, I'll still be able to wear it for years to come. I just have to, I do want to wash it after having worn it and find a safe way to store it. So nothing gets at my beautiful silk. What else? Yeah, the weekend was so fun. The weekend we spent in Toronto, and the wedding was amazing, and yeah, just had the time of my life, which is great. And yeah, what else happened? I sang a song at the wedding. They had like a live band portion, so I sang Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer and played bass and with a couple other guys, and I ended up hosting karaoke for a really long time at the wedding, which was really fun. Me and Amory were hosting, my friend Amory, who made my theme song. Yeah, and I gave them their quilt. They requested Zinnia knew I was making them something, so she, at the wedding reception, was like, show me what it is, and I gave them a little sneak peek in the bag, and they really liked it. So maybe I'll insert the little video I took of the quilt before I gave it to them, obviously. It looked crazy. I hope this is legible, but yeah, here that is. Okay, so I am going to a wedding this weekend, and it's my dear friends Zinnia and Micah who are getting married. Talked about Zinnia before, if you remember, if you've been watching for a while. I think a couple of years ago, because I was in my old apartment, I made an Azor sweater by Orland Souk for a friend, and that was for Zinnia. And so I knew I wanted to make them something really special for their wedding gift. And I'm filming this now after my last video because I want to show you before I give it away. So I kind of knew I wanted to make them a quilt, and I was like, this is a lot of work. But I think I'm ready for it and excited about it. If you remember my last quilt, actually I'll just show you. I was feeling intimidated because this was my last quilt. I showed this many podcasts ago. There's still threads to clip, eh? I had made this fresh as a daisy quilt over the course of several years. And so I was feeling like it was going to be a really big commitment to decide to make a quilt for them. But I made a few like concessions that I knew would make it speedier. One of which was, this is hand quilted, just with like big stitch quilting. And I was like, no, I will machine quilt it. But I also made a lap blanket size for them, and I guess I decided not to hand quilt it, and I kept it to lap blanket size, or a throw size. But the pattern that I chose is called the Edna quilt, and it had two options for the throw size, so I made the larger of the throw sizes. And here it is. I guess I'll just show you. don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, here it is. You might notice there's lots of like fuzz and threads and stuff on it. It does need to be washed. It still has a lot of the just fluff from the batting on it. See, there's a really long thread. So sorry to show it to you in this state, but I was like thinking about filming again, and it didn't align with my hair washing schedule. It wasn't gonna happen. I'm washing it on Friday. Today's Monday. Could have recorded on Thursday. Anyways, yeah, so this is the Edna quilt. And of course I have none of the information pulled up. So let's find it. The Edna quilt pattern by Jennifer Jones. And the company's called Penelope Handmade. And I bought the pattern on Etsy. And I sort of had this pattern in mind for a little while. I started thinking about this in probably February, and I picked the pattern, and I really struggled to decide what fabrics to use. I just wasn't, it's so hard to make something for somebody else. Yeah, and I just really wanted it to be something that would look good in their home and that they would like. And I was just sort of looking at quilting websites every now and then all of a sudden this fabric collection popped up. Okay, yes, the fabric collection is by Tilda, and it's called Pie in the Sky. And that's the colored fabrics, like patterned fabrics. And I knew right away, I don't know, they were just like, of course I'm thinking a little bit about mica, but mostly about zinnia. Yeah, they're just the kind of pattern that I feel like she has a lot of in her home. Although I haven't seen their new apartment, but I'm going off what I remember of the things that she has and likes, and yeah, and just like really good colors. I knew I wanted some red and some green and yellow, and it just sort of clicked for me when I saw this fabric collection. So I ordered, I think, 9 different colors, and then just sort of put them together randomly. I knew this quilt pattern would be a bit speedier than, say, the Fresh as a Daisy. It just had more like straightforward piecing, and I also just really love the like sawtooth stars, these like plain squares in between. I just knew it would be kind of a quicker one to finish, and it did come together really fast. And what else? I knew that I wanted like a pretty big contrast, and I wanted black. I just wanted it to be like a little bit punky and fun, like mica and zinnia, but like with those like nice florals and sort of I don't know, like there's some like paisley. Oh yeah, so I knew I wanted black, something black in the background, but I also knew that I didn't want it to be a solid. Like I wanted something with a little bit of interest. And when I first got the fabric in the mail, I really wasn't sure that I'd made the right choice, but now that it's all come together, I'm really happy with it. Like I'm glad it's not a solid. I think it's nice. I don't know, I haven't done a ton of quilting, and I feel like I made good choices. So I like that there's a little bit going on in those big squares, and the white I just already had on hand, and the backing as well I thought was a really nice match to some of the prints. And yeah, so this is my Edna quilt. I opted for, actually the store that I ordered from, I just found like a place in Canada that had like a good price on this collection of fabric and had all the prints that I wanted.
all the different colorways. And it ended up being somewhere in Nova Scotia. And they didn't sell fat quarters. They sold, the minimum you could buy was a third of a meter, I think, which is odd, but whatever. It meant I have like a little bit left over. And I had enough to do like a scrappy binding. So I just joined, like, I guess with the fabric strips of the different prints. And then, yeah, hand stitched it down on the back. As far as quilting goes, I've never quilted anything this large on my machine. I've done like little tiny quilting projects. I had to buy a walking foot, which I'm just glad that I have. I could have borrowed one, but I was like, I think I would like to have it. And I really wasn't sure at first what I wanted to do for quilting this. And I was like looking on Instagram, and a lot of people had I was just looking at the hashtag, and a lot of people had long-armed their versions. And I was like, it was already getting up there in price. Like, it's pretty pricey to buy yardage for a quilt. So I was like, I'm going to quilt it myself to save a bit of money. And eventually I landed on something that I'm really happy with. I quilted in white, sort of just inside the strips. So I don't know how to show this to you, but you can kind of see I sort of followed the lines, like maybe a 1/4 inch within all the vertical and horizontal lines. So they kind of make a square inside the sawtooth star, and it goes, you know? You know what I'm saying? And for the rest of it, because I still needed some lines closer together, I've been watching a lot of Amy Beth, the Fat Squirrel Speaks, her podcast, and she was talking about quilting with the triple zigzag stitch. So, you know, it's like a zigzag, but it's made up of 3 stitches this way, 3 stitches that way. And I did that in gray. So these lines I did in white so they wouldn't stand out too much. And then I did the triple zigzag in gray, and I went down the middle of the big blocks and across, which you can kind of see here on the screen, but I'll show you the back. And I will say my quilting is not perfect. I was really learning how to use the walking foot, but I'm happy with it. So yeah, there's the triple zigzag. And I put gray in the bobbin for the white lines, and gray for the bobbin and the top thread in the zigzag. So yeah, I mean, it needs to be washed. You can still see the creases of the some creasing in the fabric and stuff like that, but I'm really happy with it, and it's made me want to make another quilt. Yeah, that gives you an idea. I mean, this is just a crease, but yeah, not perfect, but really good, I think. And I'm hoping the large throw is like enough for 2 people on a couch, or big enough to like put at the end of the bed, basically, is kind of what I was thinking. And so I think that's kind of nice to have options, because hopefully it'll like fit into their house okay, and their decor, and they'll find it cozy. And yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say about it, but just needed to film this before giving it away. Yeah, I do think I would like to make this pattern again for myself. I've been kind of going back and forth on what I want to do for my next quilt. I've been trying to assemble something like scrappy, but I'm not a scrappy girl, you know? I really liked I like the act of like taking yardage and cutting it down into these like determined shapes, and like I don't really like getting this like weird piece of fabric and like trying to figure out what I can make out of it. I like having a plan and then following the plan. So I have like this big Rubbermaid bin right in front of me under my desk of scraps. It's like huge. It's huge. So I'd like to work through that, but it's like pretty intimidating. And I do think there's ways that this could be scrappy. Like I was thinking the other day, I was talking to somebody and they said they like, their quilting process is taking little scraps and just sort of piecing them together, whatever kind of crazy quilt style. And then using that like as yardage and cutting it down. And I was thinking that that would be a really great application for the squares. Like you could make sort of just pieced like scrappy yardage and then cut out this size of block and then have like kind of scrappy blocks and then maybe solid stripes and then the solid stars. And I thought that could look really cool. I'm also just thinking maybe I go like full scrappy. I have like bits of things that are already quilted around the house, like things I started and never finished, and maybe I just put all of that together and do something a little bit more like improvisational or experimental or something. So I don't know. Doing this has made me excited about quilting. I mean, I was already excited, but I'm really happy with it, and I really hope they like it. I am going to wash it before we go on Friday, and I would like to embroider something on it, even if it's just my initials, but I might like put the date of the wedding or something. We'll see. It might just not happen. Because I'm tired. I've made a lot of things for this wedding already. And yeah, so back to whatever I was talking about before. So yeah, I hope you liked hearing about my wedding sewing projects. Oh my god. It was a lot of fun. It was nice to have, I don't know, a deadline, and also just nice that everything was so well received. It's nice to put in a lot of work and then have it pay off. I'm sorry that I can't stop touching my hair. It's just, I just have to let it be a mess. It's just too hot today. It's just too hot. And it's definitely too hot to be wearing this, which is my almost finished object. And it's the Cutting Edge Vest by Albina McLaughlin. And I knit this using my hand spun, which I showed more in detail in the last video. I don't think I had a skein to show, but I could put a picture here of one of the skeins. This was some fiber that was dyed by Myrtle Yarn, who's a dyer in BC. And I think it turned out really nice. So I used pretty much, I had 300 grams and I used like every scrap of that. Basically, I'd done some sampling before I started, and I did have to use, like, for the very end of the bind off, I was finishing this in the car on the way back from Toronto, and I ran out. I had like this much yarn and like this much bind off to do, but I knew I had some of the sampling yarn, so I was able to finish the bind off. And I have enough. The things that are unfinished on this is just the back neck. So I think you pick up and do a little I-cord bind off on the back neck. I don't know if you can see, it's like curling right now. Yeah, so that's what's left to finish of this. Yeah,
yeah, oops. And I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know. Maybe I could have made a size smaller. It's like very roomy. And I probably would have liked it to be a little bit longer, but I didn't have enough yarn. I feel like that's a nice indication of the color. It's really pretty, eh? Kind of looks like I don't know, just reminds me of a sky. The color was called Space Angel. And yeah, I didn't get to do the full ribbing because I ran out of yarn, but I think the amount is nice. The proportions are nice. I'm wearing it right now. Like, I'm not wearing pants right now, so it's not really like styled or anything. Maybe someday I can show it a bit better styled. But it was really fun to do. The steeking was fun. I opted for the clean edge finish. So the steek just gets folded down and tacked down. I don't know, it's not like my best work, in part because I did it. I mean, I think this ridge is pretty visible, and that's fine. But I did the steeking when I had COVID, and I was just like really bored and grumpy, and then I just set it aside and didn't finish the back neckline. So that's life. I do think once I go in to do that I-cord at the back, I might just like, I don't know, I just want to like sew this up a little bit and neaten up the bottom edge, because there's just sort of like one big stitch there, but that's an easy thing to just tighten up, and that'll be good. Yeah, I think it's nice. I do like this pattern. I think I'd make it again. Maybe slightly longer. And it's really way too warm for this weather. That's another reason I didn't finish it. I was working on it, and when I first started having COVID, it's like novel to me because this is my first time. I've never had it before. I managed to make it 4 years, so that's pretty good. Where was I going with this? Oh, when the COVID first started, it was like 35 degrees in Montreal. And I was like, I'm not that motivated to do this because I'm not gonna be able to wear it till the fall. But now it's here for when I need it, and I'm hoping it'll be big enough to like put over some dresses maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I could have gone down a size, but it's all right. It's cute. So I'm gonna take it off now because I can't anymore. Guess I just have 2 other things I wanted to show you before I take off. Take off, put the air conditioning back on. I'm going to the park with a friend tonight to have a picnic. And I'm very happy about that. So the next thing, I think I cast this on after I came back from Toronto. I was like kind of burnt out, and then I got sick and I was like, what's going on? But I had this yarn set aside for a while, and I kind of knew that this is what I wanted to do with it. I think I talked about it last time, that I had ordered some Santolina when I ordered an extra skein for my rib lace raglan, and I got this at the same time. And it's the color, I think it's called Purple Moor. Sorry, I just need to be sitting in an awkward way where I'm not comfortable. So I cast on a Dappled lace raglan by James N. Watts, and I think I had in my head that this would be my project for my trip to BC, which I'm going on in a week, but I just kind of kept going and didn't stop. And now I'm like, is this Sorry, it's like a mess of barber cords and stuff, but I'm going away for 12 days. Would I finish this? Would it not be enough of a project? It's hard to say. I think I'll probably take it. Once I remembered that I had intended it for my trip, I stopped working on it. But I'd already put in a couple inches on the body. I don't know if you can see. Not too many inches, but yeah, I should make a note of how long the rib lace is and then make this to the same length. So I did try to make this bigger than the rib lace raglan. And I was like, I'm going to be on gauge this time. And I swatched and realized that I think I must knit at a similar gauge to James, because I got gauge with the called for needle, which is 3.75 millimeter, which is like unheard of for me. I think Caitlin Hunter patterns and James and Watts's patterns are the only ones where I have hit gauge with the called for needle. So I intended to knit this with 3.75 millimeter needles. And I guess when I cast on, I picked up the wrong needles. So I in fact knit all of this with 3.5 millimeter needles. So it's not going to have the amount of ease that I wanted. I tried it on, that's why it's on this cord. I tried it on earlier today and it fits. And there is ease, it's just not as much as I had intended. And I had a moment of being like, should I restart? But I've already knit like a ball and a half of yarn, I think. Yeah. 1 skein and a half, and I have 1 skein left. So I'm not going to restart. I'm just going to finish it as is. I only realized because I went to go, I guess I always have this, like, I mentally know where all the needles of different sizes are, and I was like, I know that the 3.75s are in this and the 3.5s are in the case, and I went to go use the 3.5s and they weren't there, but the 3.75s were there, and I was like, oh no, something's gone wrong, and then I found the 3.5s in here. So whatever. I guess I had COVID and I didn't notice, but yeah, I think it's turning out good. Again, this was another one that I wasn't like initially drawn to, but I enjoyed doing the lace on the rib lace raglan so much that I was like, I think it would be fun to knit, so I'm gonna do it. And having just tried it on earlier, I really don't want to change again, so I'm sure you'll probably see it in my next video, but this gives you an idea. I think it'll be nice, and I think I'll wear it. I wasn't sure about this shade of purple either, but I think it's nice. Yeah, so that's the Dappled lace raglan. The pattern has 2 neckline options, and I did the neckline shaping. But now I truly, so there's a bit more fabric in the back, but I don't know which side that is. Like, they do look a bit different, but is it this one? I think it must go like this with the tails at the back. So yeah, there's a bit of a lift in the back, which is good, I think. I don't know which side is the right side here. I think it's supposed to go like this. Anyways, yeah, that's that. I do, like, I'm still thinking about other teas that I would like to make, and I just kind of want like more rib lace raglans. Is that silly? I just really like that, the simplicity of that pattern, and yeah, I wish there were more summer knits that I was excited about, but I'm just not that excited about summer in general as a person. But I'm feeling good about it this year. I had a really miserable summer last year. I've talked about this, but I was really burnt out. And I've noticed that this year I feel a lot better. I'm like less bothered by the heat. I'm like less annoyed by the sounds of the birds. I don't have a pigeon problem like I used to. I'm watching the birds go into their little nests right now. Anyways, I was trying to keep this quick, and here I am rambling again. So, my next whip, which I talked about casting on in my last video and have officially cast on, is the Sheep Camp Sweater by Jennifer Berg. I also put this on a cord so I could show it to you a bit better. Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, I feel like it's coming out really nice. The color work's really fun and addictive, and I'm using my hand spun. This blend from Crux Fibers that I bought a while back. And then I was worried I wouldn't have enough, so I spun up this weird little ball of two different like colorways together, and I'm just like inserting rows of the weird one. I mean, they're both kind of weird, but I'm just inserting rows of this every now and then. I didn't really have a plan at all, but you can kind of see like some of that, the weird ball. The more brightly colored ball is like popping through in the little blue bits, and there's some like orangey and red bits, but I think on the whole it's like creating a nice, that's the back, this is the front. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice yoke. So I am kind of playing with the gauge a bit, because my hand spun was like pretty thick. Was probably more like a worsted, maybe an Aran in spots, but it's like a very dense worsted, because it was one of my earlier spins. And so the second yarn that I'm using is Durham Natura Gilead in the colorway Fusain, which is this like nice charcoaly color. And I feel like these aren't colors that I would really like. I guess since I like have started thinking about like my colors and what looks good on me, I've sort of, and what I feel like good in, kind of gone away from like more yellowy or like greeny yellowy colors, and so this isn't maybe what I would like pick now, but I think it's nice, and it'll be different from a lot of the other sweaters that I have, and I do really like this charcoal color. So yeah, I'm happy with it, and it'll be a nice, I feel like it's gonna be like pretty sweatshirty. I was explaining my gauge. So I am doing it with a worsted weight yarn. So here's the, I'm a mess today. I don't know if I sound sick to you, but I sound sick in my head. But you can see this is my hand spun. That's the Gilead. So the pattern is written for the color work to be at about a 22 stitch gauge, and I had swatched and I was getting like a 20 stitch gauge, which I think is still true. Let's check. Yeah, I think it's about a 20 stitch gauge in the color work. So I went down one size, and I think I should end up with about a 56-inch circumference, which I actually could measure now because I've done all the increases already. What? Can we do a thumbnail? Is that too crazy? Yeah, I think I've done all the increases. So if we were to measure around this, we'd get the circumference, but I'm not going to do that right now. And yeah, so I've tried this on. And I will say, I feel like the neckline is really wide. Which obviously I wouldn't wear it with this dress. Or maybe I would. Maybe it'll be cute. It's pretty wide neckline. It's just not what I was anticipating for some reason. I should have known, like, you cast on and you knit a few rounds to get this like rolled edge. This is cute. And that's not something I generally do. I feel like because I've knit a lot of Orlan Souk's patterns, and she often starts with a cast on, and then you go back and add the neckline on. And I feel like that's what I've done for a lot of my sweaters, because I feel like it's nice to have that the structure of the cast on, because I could see this like stretching, you know? So I'm gonna reserve judgment until the end and see how I feel about it. But I may, and I've never done this before, so I'm not sure about the mechanics of it, but I may go and undo the bind off, pull back the however many rounds it was to make this rolled edge, maybe bind off the live stitches, maybe decrease a little bit, and then pick up and redo the rolled edge. That's my plan if I don't like it. What's this? What do we think? Oh yeah, and I neglected to say that I'm knitting this kind of double cal mode. Partly, like, my friends and I, who I talk about all the time, Rudy, Kay, and Izzo, we're going to Rhinebeck this fall. So excited. And we had all decided, well, maybe Rudy decided. Rudy had knit the sheep camp with some of their hand spun, and they were like, I think this should be our Rhinebeck sweater. And I had always wanted to knit it, so I was like, I'm sold, easy. And then I saw that Mackenzie and Tim of the Sibling Energy podcast, which if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend. They were starting a sheep camp cal over the summer, and so I thought I might as well join in. I've never been a huge cal person. I can't seem to, like, I don't know, once there's any sort of pressure, I just sort of freeze. But it was fun to watch the cast on live stream the other day, and cast on with everybody, and this has been pretty addictive to knit. So it's Tuesday today, and I cast this on Saturday night, so I have a feeling that the yoke is going to go really fast, and then it's probably going to take a minute for me to get the rest of the body done, but that's fine. I may also end up shortening the yoke, which will be easy because, like I said, I've already done all the increasing, and now I'm just doing sort of these triangles all the way down, so I think I can just eliminate some triangles if I feel like the yoke is getting too deep. But then it's going to be hard to judge that if I'm not sure about the final finish of the collar. So maybe I just have to knit more of it and then figure it out from there. Yeah. Anyways, that's the sheep camp. I think I said everything I wanted to say. I'm sorry this was a bit like, yeah, I'm definitely feeling not all there. I think having COVID for the first time that I know of, it kind of hit me, not super hard, but like, there were some days last week where I was like, I can't really do anything with my brain or body. And I've been like slower to bounce back than I would from like a cold, you know? Oh, my foot fell asleep. And I'm just trying to take it easy and not push myself too hard, because it's still like going up the stairs makes me feel really bad. And I'm a little bit like confused, but that's okay. I'm gonna try and enjoy myself. It's gonna be really hot here tomorrow, and I'm gonna be fine. We'll see. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think it might end up being kind of long despite my best efforts. I hope you are doing some fun summer projects. Let me know what you're working on. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon when I'm back from BC. Ooh. Okay, have a good day. Bye.